What's going on, everybody? Sorry about that. I was muted the whole time. How y'all doing? Happy Sunday to all of you. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Oh, let me get some music on. I'm getting an email from a mod saying that they were blocked. Are you guys not able to still see messages? I have no idea what's going on. I'm gonna check right quick to see if because I haven't blocked anybody unless why don't YouTube say what's going on? It's like they just having problems and they won't say what's really happening. Let's see here. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that like button as well. Hit that like button. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe to the LLC. I appreciate all of you all. Let's see here. I'm just trying to see why are people blocked? Like no one. Oh Lord have mercy. How's everybody's Sunday going for them? Okay, there's only like 2 people in my block list here. And neither of them are my mods. This is so crazy. I'm just gonna clear it out again. If you guys can, make sure if you are unable to see a comment, please refresh your screen because no one is in my block list. Okay. I don't know why comments aren't coming through. And YouTube won't say what the heck is going on. It feels like somebody just hacked into YouTube. It's going in and just blocking everybody. They blocked my Mazda chat. Barely anyone can chat. I know they've been doing that to me for like what last 2-3 days. People saying they can't chat. Oh my goodness, Nidra, I just woke up to not too long ago. My goal was because we got through with the Candace live stream around 2 a.m. I fell asleep around 3 a.m. and then woke up at like 8 a.m. out of nowhere. And I was like, oh no, it's too early. It's so early. No. Why am I up? 8 o'clock in the morning. I was so mad. Oh man. And then dozed back off and just jumped up. I was like, good Lord, live stream. Gotta go. We had fun last night. Hi, CC. And Kay, how you doing, honey? Oh my good Lord. Y'all all right? Nidra up in here? Let's see here. I want to make sure I got everybody in. This is the comment that was left, and it was a good comment. I don't know what happened with it, Bert, but y'all see I responded, and because he sent over a question about the whole thing with Candace applying for or entering some sort of I guess submitting some sort of application for the CEO thing. And I was like, that's a good question. So, of course, it was left in this chat, but I was like, that was food for thought. I literally looked it up and then I responded over here just so I wouldn't forget it. And then that's when I pulled up the information last night in the Candace live. And I was like, man, just to think though, if she had done something like that, she would never tell anybody. Like, there's no formal application for that. But I can imagine her trying to send a letter, a text, or an email to somebody on the board saying, I've got insiders there. Everybody said they're not happy and nobody wants Erica. So can you all select me as CEO? And then they look at that, laugh, and they threw it in the trash and said, girl, if you don't kick rocks. And now she bigly mad. Oh, she big mad. Just speaking of Candace, listen, we got to talk about her and this connection to Scientology, okay? We got to talk about it. So, I have a few videos that I want to show. So, we're going to check out. We had a great live stream last night. And I think that there is a lot of buzz and a lot of, you know, talk around the Scientology topic, especially with Candace and with TPUSA. So I'm gonna make sure, because we have more videos to check out with Candace, with Umar. So it's like 2 more live streams I really need to do. But we had a great live stream. I want to thank you guys so much for yesterday and for tuning in and hanging out with me. We do have a lot more to go over because I'm not watching her series. So I would rather watch any other video right now. Let's see here. Um so make sure you guys are coming in, hit that like button. And if you can't leave a comment, please email me and let me know. My block list is clear. So I will say that there's definitely something going on with YouTube. And it's nothing on my end. I just cleared my block list. So I ask if you can to please refresh your page. YouTube is acting up. Ciao. But I do want to start with Jenna Miscavige. And let me share my screen. Who is the niece of David Miscavige, the current leader of this cult. And I reached out to her I think twice, to see if she wouldn't mind coming on to the LLC. I know it's a whole lot, when you're the niece of the leader, and then you get, requests to come on and do interviews and things of that nature. She did talk about mental health, which is a good thing. That she has gone to counseling, and I guess she had been told that she had um, some mental health disorders, and she was like, "No, I don't have any of that." And then she gave all her critics the middle finger. It was sad. I used it as a thumbnail. Was it last week or the week? It was week before last. Because last week we had Kyla. Shout out to Kyla, honey. And we talked about the importance of mental health and how to be patient with those who are in a cult or any cult, especially in Scientology. And her days of protesting and her experiences and friends and people she know that were in Scientology. So it affects a lot of people's lives in a myriad of ways. And I'm sure even with Jenna Miscavige, she has, being the niece, she has experienced a lot, but she has come out of it, and she looks and sounds good and healthy. And I just could be more proud. And I hope she continues on this journey. And she is ready to talk. She has her own YouTube channel. So let me give you all the link here to this video we're about to check out. And then we're going to go into Paramount Tactical did a video on a couple videos on what is Scientology. And then there is a video on Scientology taking over TPUSA from growing up Scientology. So I just think it's worth looking into now. This is just a great angle to look into. Candace, of course, her connection to Scientology, I think, is more aligned with John Mappin and her relationship with him. But maybe Paramount Tactical saw something that came across some more information that I haven't. So I'm excited. I'm excited to know this. I'm waiting on Candace to come out and say, "Yeah, guys, hi guys. Today I have joined Scientology." I'm just waiting for her to say it. She'll be like that next Tom Cruise, the black female version of it, and then just start jumping around on couches and chairs. Can't make this up. He's such a cocky little kid. But is Candace any better? Nope. So here is the video to Jenna Miscavige. And of course, feel free to check out her channel. What's going on, Miss? How you doing, honey? Good child. Kyla says she's in Florida this weekend. Okay, cool. Caleb is up in here. How you doing? Candace will either be a Muslim or a Scientologist. Yeah, I think she'll become Scientologist first before Muslim. Because Scientologists will let her do what she want to do. They're like, oh, you're rich enough. We don't care. If you want to stay Catholic, okay. Like, because she doesn't talk about being a Christian anymore. She just talks about being a Catholic. So, you can't believe, if my understanding, you can't believe in Jesus at all, being in Scientology. Or have any, belief in heaven or hell because you sign over $1 billion contract of some sort. More than likely, Candace is just be in Scientology and just say, I'm just Catholic. She won't connect it to Christianity. No, she doesn't do any of that. And then she'll just stop talking about God. She already doesn't read the Bible. You're halfway there, you dumb demon. Can't make this up. So let's get to this, and then we'll get to Gary with Paramount Tactical, because I am definitely interested in. I think I grabbed a couple of videos, but I should have grabbed his live stream. He did a whole live stream, you all. So I want to see the live stream, and then you guys listen, ask questions along the way, because that's what this is about. Learning more about this cult, figuring out all the connections they're having to politics, to government, to celebrities. I mean, good Lord. I had no idea so many celebrities were in this. And they are. And it's kind of like, why would you sell your soul? It's giving them more power. And at some point, they are going to start taking over. And it was mighty ironic for Candace to use them as an example to say, oh, they could never take over. Okay. For her to make that statement, I'm sure she had to talk to somebody about that, because John Mappin should have been mad. What do you mean we'll never take over? Like, and I'm like Carla said, she's definitely protected. I highly doubt somebody's gonna come whoop her ass over it. But any other person say that, guess what? It would have been some nonsense. So let's get to this. Y'all put a one in the chat when you can see it here. Shout out to Jenna Miscavige. Let's go.
I'm Jenna Miscavige. I was born and raised in Scientology. I left when I was 21 years old and wrote a book about it. My uncle, David Miscavige, is the leader of Scientology. And this is my YouTube channel. Hi guys. So right now, the subject of human trafficking, of child trafficking, is very much in the public consciousness right now because of everything that's going on with Epstein and his victims.
Well, we just want survivors everywhere. That's who we represent. We represent survivors, not just of Epstein, but all survivors, to know that we are taking our power back. This is our moment, and you're going to look at us.
And I wanted to take this opportunity to expose the trafficking aspect of Scientology. Now, many times in my comments, people have questions like, give specifics. And it's something I refer to often. And I wanted to just take this opportunity to tell a story, to give a very specific example of why this is so important to me and why it matters, and just to put some faces to a story or some names to a story so people can see how real this is. And this is just one example of Scientology child trafficking. It's an example that's near and dear to my heart. And it's the one that I think of whenever I'm exposing Scientology. But even I know so many more examples of it happening all the time. There's 10 other examples of child trafficking happening all around this story. But I'm going to just go ahead and tell you the story. All right, so here we go. For those of you who don't know, I grew up as a member of Scientology's most dedicated group called the C Organization. It's where its members sign 1 billion year contracts. They work 100-hour weeks, 7 days a week, and they get paid as little as $50. They live communally, they eat communally, and they are sort of like Scientology's management. And so my parents were members of this group. They joined when I was 2 years old. And because of that, I was seen as a Sea Org member in training. And so when I was 6 years old, I was brought to a place called The Ranch. It is in San Jacinto, California. And me and about 80 other kids live there whose parents were also in Scientology's most dedicated group. And we did not live with our parents at all. We only saw them once a week. And we were sort of organized into our own little military style organization. This ranch is its own story. But it's sort of the backdrop for the story that I want to tell. So there was 80 or so kids there, anywhere from the ages of 5 years old up to 18 years old. And we were working, we were doing some academic studies, a lot of Scientology studies. And when I say working, I mean, we were like doing like landscaping work and like construction work all the time to upkeep the ranch. So in 1996, when I was 12 years old, I was sent to Clearwater, Florida, which is Scientology's mecca for training. It's considered that you get the best training in the world in Clearwater, Florida, at their base called Flag. I was sent there to do training, but training consists of being in a classroom, like literally 10 hours a day. And there are other training programs that I went through that required me to do the laundry of executives, required me to clean spaces on the base, clean their offices, clean the rooms that they lived in, things like that. In 1999, one day, I was sitting in a Scientology classroom and I was in trouble for something. And I was listening to these L. Ron Hubbard lectures about how bad I was. And basically, through the front door walks about 27 kids. I was 15 at this time. These kids were anywhere from 11 years old up to 16, maybe 17 years old. And there was about 25 of them. And as they came closer, I saw their smiling faces and realized they were all of the kids who I grew up with at the ranch. And they were being brought into the staff college, and they were all smiling at me and waving at me because I was the only person who they knew. And I was just floored. Basically, what had happened is that Scientology had decided that the ranch type setting for these kids was too big of an investment, too big of a distraction for parents, and that these kids were now of an age where they would be a valuable part of their workforce. And so they sent them to Clearwater, Florida to do just that. Now, just to make it really clear, these children's parents were still in California, and they were all being sent to Clearwater without their parents there. But they're separating them from their siblings, who often is the only family member that they got to live in close proximity to, all being at the ranch together. Now, these were all friends of mine. They were all people who I had known since I was 6 years old. And at the time, I was, of course, happy to see them. But when I look back at the events that happened at that time, especially from the point of view of a parent, I'm completely disgusted. And it's just, frankly, so sad that Scientology saw all of these kids as basically just free labor. So prior to all of this happening, a program was initiated, ordered by my uncle, and the people in charge of the program were ordered to find placement for these kids in Scientology's most dedicated group and basically to assign them guardians. But the kids were not intended to live with their guardians, because the way it works in this group is that everybody lives in a dorm. So the kids didn't live with their guardians. Their guardians didn't make sure they had enough food, that they were getting enough sleep. It's really just legal paperwork so that they can make child trafficking legal. From the day these kids arrived in Clearwater, they were only allowed to go to school 1 day a week. And even the school that they did attend wasn't regular school. It was a Scientology school run by Scientology's most dedicated members, where kids ages 12 up to 18 were all in the same room. There's not a teacher teaching the class. There's no grades. There's no nothing. Everything is self-led. These kids are being put on Scientology's e-meter every day. So to call it going to school one day a week even is a huge overstatement. In Scientology, they take advantage of this little loophole where, because they're a religion, they can call even Scientology studies religious studies, and that counts towards schooling, which is a huge, disgusting abomination and really puts kids at a huge disadvantage. And it's just insane that that is legal. So when I'm seeing these kids, they're all familiar faces. They're almost like my brothers and sisters, because I had lived with them at the ranch for at least 6 years when none of us lived with our parents. And I actually want to read their names so that it doesn't just seem like, oh, a bunch of 25 kids. These are real people. Some of them are still in, some of them have left, but these are real children that were hauled across the country by Scientology and taken advantage of. Megan Anderson, Colleen Anderson, Becky Hughes, Nathan Tompkins, Anthony Bolstad, Susie Flood, Casper Peter Squeers, Kim Radstrom, Kiri Willoughby, Ariella Coleman, Natalia Labato, Devonna Hawkins, Ben Rinder, Gayla Gualteri, Lena Brugger, Renee Berther, Amber Porter, Melissa Sutter, Michelle Delianibus, Shanoa Treasure, Sam Francis, Sigrun Johansson, Duncan Alsop, Trisha Norton, Sky Senner, Ben Weber, Vanessa Delderfield, and Kalinda Delderfield. Now that's actually 28 kids at the time. And these are just the specific names I remember. Out of the kids on this list, Duncan, Nathan, Becky, Ben, Amber, Anthony, Renee, Natalia, Michelle, Megan, Colleen, Sky, Ariella, Vanessa, and Kalinda were all separated from siblings back in California. So immediately these kids were put on a program that was a sort of boot camp to get them into Scientology's most dedicated group, where they did heavy labor, they had to run everywhere, and they did courses that taught them all about how to be the most perfect Sea Org member, the most perfect dedicated Sea Org member. And they were cleaning spaces, they were cleaning hotel rooms. Now, because every moment of your day is controlled by Scientology, in order for me to even get a chance to speak to some of my friends, I had to sneak around. Like, I had to give them eyes when I was going to go to the bathroom. And so they would meet me in the bathroom where we could talk. And that was the first time I got to hug my friend Becky and my friend Kiri. And also because I was in trouble at this time, the woman who was watching me, who was overseeing me, making sure I didn't mess up, followed me into the bathroom and told me that I needed to wrap it up and get back to my studies. But in the times that I was able to sneak around without her noticing, I was able to speak to my friend Kiri, who was my best friend growing up. And I asked her how she was doing, because basically all of these people were just transported across the country. And she started crying, and she said that she was really sad and upset because she wasn't really going to see her parents again. And I hugged her and I said I was so sorry, and that
Hold on. I had to pause, y'all. As a parent, this is so hard to hear. Can you imagine your children are just being taken by this dumb cult for no reason other than for them to use them as child labor and for whatever disgusting pleasure? And that's it. And mind you, here's the hypocrisy of cults in general, but of this one in particular. If all kids and babies are treated like adults, then why are you having people oversee them? Why are you treating them like children when it comes to labor? If you're supposed to be adults, then shouldn't they be left to their own device? Why oversee them? Why are they trafficking in children? Why not just go get some grown adults who want to come in willingly? Why children? How are they taking these kids from their home and environment? Are they getting them from like foster homes, or how is this happening? They're stealing kids out of their houses. Are they kidnapping them from schools? They bring them all over from everywhere. They just traffic them in from different countries. It is, think about that. And this is something that the US government allows to have power. Candace is friends with a John Mappin who's in Scientology. John Mappin, you good with this? You nasty I was going to say the F word. Kids have been taken from their families. The trauma inflicted on them. And to be told that the only thing they're good for is cleaning, not learning, not being kids, not being able to interact with each other. They have to sneak hugs and conversations in the bathroom. It's crazy. In one instance, when it comes to these perps trying to hear and mess with them, oh, they see them as adults. But when it comes to labor and them interacting with each other, they get treated like children. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. Healing said the parents are willing to give them to Scientology. It's so depraved. Everybody, I want y'all to remember this. Everyone is not meant to be a parent. You could procreate all day, but everybody's not really meant to be a parent. I've always felt that way. It doesn't go against, I'm not trying to say God did not, design people to be able to procreate. People can procreate, but everyone is not meant to be a parent. It's just like everyone's not meant to be a pastor or a singer or a landscape artist. Like it's certain things that people just don't have the innate ability to do or be. Parenting is one of them. I'd rather some of these people not procreate at all. If this is how they're going to turn around and treat their own children, you're held accountable for your kids. You have to answer to this on Judgment Day. I don't care if you have 2 or 19. This is so disturbing. It's disturbing. It's disturbing. I heard her say as young as 5 years old. 5 years old. They're not even in kindergarten. Oh my God, y'all. I don't know what I would do if somebody tried to take my kids. I know one thing. My live streams would never end. Everybody would be helping me find my kids. That would definitely go international. You then if I find you and you trying to traffic my children, I'm whooping your ass. That's it. I'm gonna reshift the gravitational pull of this planet. I'm gonna beat the crap out of you. And I can't say what I'm gonna do next after that. It's just gonna be that's as far as I can think as far as what I'm gonna do for sure. Oh my God. 5 years old? Who child? Alice's I used to be this code. They have since been exposed to huge loss membership. This is one of the most dangerous and largest of the codes. Yeah, they're international. And the worst part is that they have so many sectors of government in their pocket, from law enforcement to judges to legislation, members of Congress. They're taking over Clearwater. That's it. It's as if Candace is trying to advertise by lying and dumbing down their influence saying they could never take over a state. Are you kidding me? Candace, you're stupid. It wouldn't be difficult for them to take over a state. To say that is pure ignorance, especially when you have somebody named John Mappin as your friend. It's like she doesn't bother to read this stuff. But it trafficking kids. Will she ever talk about Scientology like this? No. Oh, Candace will never diss Scientology. She could be. Instead of her trying to go after Erica Kirk because she's obsessed with her, she could be reporting on Scientology and the horrors of it all. Bringing it to a larger platform. But her cowardly ass will never do that. You cannot make this stuff up. Hearing a 5-year-olds crying because they'll never see their parents again. Oh my God. Ugh, good Lord. Cheryl says, hey Cheryl, how you doing, honey? I saw an actual post on Facebook of a Scientology mommy group asking for a soul. Not the right word for their baby to be born with. What? That's so disturbing. They really don't have the power they used to. Oh yeah, no, I heard that they are definitely diminishing, but the money that they have, they say money can help you buy power. I just hope they never ever test that out. Because if you can't have the numbers, you'll buy influence. I guess that's my point. You'll buy some influence. It's oh my God. Allison said the office. I saw one of you all put Office of Special Affairs. Serge Delmar's story will make you cry so hard. I sent you the interview I did with him. Yes, it is on Kyla's YouTube channel as well. Last week. Can I get one of the mods to drop Kyla's YouTube channel in the chat, please? There are a few interviews on there you guys need to see. And Serge Delmar's story is one of them. He was taken as a kid. And y'all, this is the stuff that Jenna Miscavige has gone through when she was a child, and she's the niece. And you said Nathan is her brother, so she did name a kid Nathan, and she didn't say that was her brother. So Nathan is her brother. So she mentioned her own brother in this list. The Office of Special Affairs, or say formerly the Guardian's Office, is a department of the Church of Scientology International. Oh my God. And they just stealing kids. Mental Health Matters channel. And if I can get one of the mods to drop her channel link, that would be great. Most orgs are right next door to universities. Yeah, that's it. That's what they're doing. They're recruiting these college kids, and oh man, these college kids are picking up real quick. I'm teaching my kids, listen, don't go near a group of kids that look weird, act weird, dressed alike, chanting and saying things. Stay away from that. Be careful who you befriend. Pray. And if they seem off and it doesn't feel right, walk away. Walk away. I'm very overprotective of my boys. And I told their father, you better be as protective as I am, if not more. Because if you slip up, don't let anything happen to my kids. That's all I got to say. You can't make this up. Don't let that happen to my kids. Like, oh my God. It scares me, y'all. I think that is the only fear I have. Fear of God, and then just the natural fear of just something happening to my kids. That's it. Yeah, it's something else. It's something else. What's going on? Writer Albert Lanier will be with us on Tuesday. I think we said it at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm gonna be posting up that live stream. You guys look out for that. But he will be joining us on Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're gonna have a great discussion about Umar, about what's going on with this check thing, and child. I mean, we can talk about everything. Albert is in all of the live streams. We can talk about Candace. We can talk about Scientology. Oh, so much we can discuss. Good grief. So shout out to you, honey. He says, yeah, they basically own Clearwater, Florida. From what I understand, they still have they have billions of dollars. They have so much money because what they're doing is charging everybody with these audits and all these things, the books, the resources they make people buy. You know, even if they don't, like I said, if they don't have the members, for the ones that they do have, they milk the mess out of them. And they don't pay the people that are there. They don't pay them anything. They pay them slave wages. It's ridiculous. You're working hundreds of hours a week and you only get 40, 50 bucks a week. I mean, it's so disturbing. And then they don't let you go. Like, you know, they take control and ownership of you. I'm just disturbed even the more to hear that you're taking kids from other countries as young as 5 years old. And then you treating them like adults when it's convenient for you. You won't let them hug, talk to each other, but you treat them like adults though when you're in other situations with them. You want to get then they want to treat them like an adult. Like a 5-year-old can consent. You can't make this up. It's disgusting and evil. Ooh, child. Yeah. Janice Davis, yes. I've reached out to her a couple times. Hopefully one day. Yes, it's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully one day Jenna Miscavige will come over here and join us for an interview. I would love to talk with her. Oh my goodness. Cheryl says, Allison, no, Trish Duggan just divorced her hubby and moved to Florida. She pipes millions into Scientology every month. Trish Duggan? Who is that? Is it the same as Duggars? What? Allison said, Marianne, look, when I her way to get in touch with me, and it's weird. Are you serious? Allison, no, you were being nice. Look at her new profile pic. She's embracing the long shark dick. Oh no. Oh God. All right, we'll save that for the Umar live stream. You can't make this up. If you want to share what she said and what happened, you can. Send me an email. Shoot me an email. Only if you want to. I'm not gonna force you, but if you would like to, and I share it or whatever, fine. She reached out to you. You can't make this up. She's like, all right, if y'all gonna clown me, I might as well embrace the clownery. Yeah. Oh, you said go look at. Oh my God! All right, we'll look at it after this video is done. Because I want this to be Scientology. We'll look at it. We'll just skim over it when I'm done with this one. It's not too much time left. But shout out to Jenna Miscavige. Girl, email me, girl, so we can do an interview.
I'm here for her and that it was going to be okay. I had been there for 3 years. And essentially my version of okay was like insane. What I had been groomed to accept as we're going to be okay is totally insane looking back at it now as a parent. But I just wanted to comfort her. And then later on, I spoke to my superior, who was the top person in the group that I was in. Her name's Angie Blankenship. I spoke to her and I told her, look, I'm like worried. Some of my friends are sad and upset. And if there's anything I can do with them, if I can spend time with them to make this transition easier for them, I would want to do that. Is there anything I can do? And then basically she came back to me the next day and said, I spoke with Kiri. She said she was totally fine. You're completely and utterly lying. You're putting your bad ideas in these kids' head and you're forbidden to speak to them. So now, after missing my friends for the better part of 3 years and not being able to see them when they're finally there, I'm literally forbidden to speak to them. As they finished their boot camp, they were put on jobs. Mostly they were made folder pages. And that's a job where basically when someone gets Scientology counseling, when a paying member pays for Scientology counseling, the counseling details are all written down in worksheets. And these worksheets are put in a file folder, except the file folders are like this big, like each one weighs like probably 10 pounds. Like it's legal paper. So the file folder is legal size and they get like this thick. And a folder page is basically somebody who hauls these around, usually with a dolly, or they're carrying like 5 of these. So it's almost like carrying reams of paper. So they're carrying them around on their shoulder, or if there's so many, they're carrying them around on a dolly. So they're basically hauling around paper and transporting it from building to building, from office to office all the time. Some of them were made tech pages, which is basically somebody who gets people from their hotel room in order to go to Scientology counseling. So they pick them up and they say, your counselor's ready for you. Let's go to the restaurant to make sure that you have enough food. And then they're responsible for bringing them to their Scientology counseling session and making sure they're there on time. So imagine this. You are a Scientology parishioner who's rich enough to be able to afford counseling at Scientology's Clearwater base, and you're a full adult, and a child who is 14, 15 years old is coming and getting you from your hotel room and bringing you to the fancy hotel restaurant and making sure you have enough food. It's literally a child taking care of a rich, privileged adult, bringing them to their Scientology counseling session and making sure that they're okay. These children had been isolated from the outside world with no internet, no TV, no connection to non-Scientology relatives, no access to real school, no knowledge of what's really going on in the real world. But these Scientology parishioners have all of that. They have real jobs, real homes, and they're just okay with paying money into this human child trafficking organization and letting these kids essentially take care of them. Now, the Scientology base in Clearwater is the most important base that Scientology has. So I regularly saw stars like John Travolta, Kirstie Alley, Jenna Elfman, Juliette Lewis. Many of these children who are carrying folders are carrying the counseling folders of John Travolta, of Lisa Marie Presley, of Leah Remini.
Who? Lisa Marie Presley was in this? Is it Juliette Lewis? Am I thinking of who's Juliette Lewis? Was she on Seinfeld? Or is that somebody else? Y'all, this is something else. She just name dropping celebrities up in there. The Duggins recently divorced. Are you talking about the Duggars? Like the 19 accountant? Because one of them boys went to jail for trafficking in P word, child P. Juliette Lewis? Who is she? Okay, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong person. Oh Lord, I'm gonna have to look these people up. I thought that was a lady from Seinfeld. Now I'm gonna have to look up Juliette Lewis. Y'all, this is something else. Francisca says, oh, y'all talking about Umar. They used to bring in billions a month, so it's still not enough to survive. Their heyday is over. They don't have their growing demo anymore. I hope so, honey. I want to believe that they're gonna just dissipate at some point, and then people start going to jail over this. Yeah, part 2, the conclusion to my observations on Umar. Okay, cool. Y'all talking about Umar. All right. Robert and Trisha Duggan are the richest Scientologists. Wow. Will and Jada, yep, Will and Jada Smith are Scientologists too. No one will go to jail. Oh God. All the child trafficking and and it's so crazy because they always talk about advocating for trafficking to end and blah blah blah. And yet and still, they join a cult where they're doing the very thing that they're advocating not to do. You can't make this up. Can't make this up. She won't reach out to me. She used to remove my comments from her live streams. Coco reposted her members live stream on his page. What happened, Francisca? Okay, not the same Duggars. Oh, okay. I'm like, dude. Okay, so I've never heard of the Duggins. They will not go to jail, unfortunately. Ugh. My whole thing is, what's the chances of them just dissipating, right? And then they get placed under investigation and get charged. What's the chance of all this stuff happening? Like that, man, it's very cowardly to let a whole cult do trafficking, know that it's occurring, and then you don't go after them. It's crazy. They get into the government, yeah, and then they get all this blackmail on all these people. Yeah, I'm just like, man, crazy, crazy stuff, crazy stuff. So she's almost done with this one, and then we're gonna get to Paramount Tactical because he has a whole interview he does on this, and the ties to Candace as well. And I'm so interested in that, so I want to share that with you all. And then that's gonna be this live for Scientology Sunday, and next week we will check out, because I know Kyla wanted us to check out the interview of one of the survivors. But I just find it so interesting now that this topic is picking up so much steam, which is a good thing, and that is being discussed. And Gary with Paramount Tactical did an interview. Well, he did a full live stream about it and the ties that it has to Candace and possible connections with TPUSA. Hopefully, they have no connections at all, and TPUSA telling them to kick rocks. But you never know. So let's get back to it.
At that time. Now, a few of these celebrities have left and have spoken out about Scientology, which is wonderful. But Scientology celebrities know that claims of child trafficking in Scientology are true. When Grant Cardone goes to get Scientology counseling, he sees kids there. He knows that's not normal. Many years later, after I left Scientology and I was on my book tour and I was doing a radio interview with someone in LA. I think his name was Larry something. But I was talking about growing up in Scientology, and he was taking callers. And one of the people who called in was a Scientologist, and his name was John Willoughby. And he said, yes, my daughter, Kiri, grew up in Scientology, and she loved it so much, and it was so great. And it was just such an insane moment for me, because his daughter, Kiri, as I mentioned before, was my best friend and was somebody who was trafficked and was somebody who was upset about it. And the fact that, first of all, that her dad let this happen at all, but then was calling in to support Scientology, and that he thought it was a good idea to talk to me about it when I specifically knew him and was best friends with his daughter. He probably didn't even know that, is just insane. And it shows that Scientology has no remorse. They don't give a shit.
No, they don't.
All they care about is covering for themselves. What's even more amazing about this story is that my friend Kiri's father, John, the guy who called, when we first went to the ranch, me and Kiri, he was on Scientology's rehabilitation program, where he was made to wear all black, run everywhere he went. He was forced to do hardcore Scientology interrogation, where he had to admit to all of the bad things that he had done. He wasn't allowed to speak unless spoken to, and he had to do heavy manual labor all day during the time he wasn't being interrogated. So it's just an example, a single example of how full of shit Scientology is and how willing they are to lie just to cover their ass. And their members will put Scientology before their kids. They'll put Scientology before themselves because they're so groomed and brainwashed that Scientology is all that matters. And that is why cults like Scientology are so dangerous and why it's so fucking dangerous and absurd to give them religious status so carelessly. Now, I saw an interview just yesterday with a man who had just left Scientology, but who was working in their church in Edinburgh, Scotland. And he mentioned several times that there was many minors who worked at this Scientology church. And that is just one of the reasons why it's so important for me to put out this video right now. This video is full of specifics. I'm here to give any specifics that any government official wants to look into this. Hello, Pam Bondi, if you actually care about human and child trafficking, maybe put this on the FBI priority list. And again, I can't make it clear enough. This is just one example at a very specific time, but the scope of Scientology.
Pam Bondi needs to be fired. If she can't sit down and look at this information and investigate this, and doesn't know how to split up her investigators amongst various, investigations. I understand you want to investigate Medicare fraud and IRS tax fraud. I get it. But you're talking about trafficking kids and a dumb cult. Never should the United States allow a cult to become bigger than its own government or more powerful than its own government. You can't make this up. Pam Bondi either do something to get your ass on. Oh my God, I'm so glad she called her out. Well done, Jenna. Oh my goodness. I love Jenna.
Human and child trafficking is so much bigger than this. And this is why it is so important to expose Scientology. And even when officials aren't doing anything, just letting the general public know in a way that is authentic and believable will keep them from joining. It will keep them from getting their own children involved. They will feel the need to tell a friend or a relative and just spread the word. That's all I have for today. Thank you for listening, and I will be back very soon with more. Bye.
So good. So good. Oh, Jenna. She's calling out Pam Bondi. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, y'all. So this is why I grabbed the clips. He had some longer live streams. I think we all pretty much know what Scientology is. I want to see the one with the Candace. So these are clips that kind of summarized his live stream. That's why I pulled them. And this is from Paramount Tactical, you guys. Shout out to Gary for talking about this topic and for getting down to the nitty-gritty of what's really going on and the connection with TPUSA. Y'all, we're not going to be long. This is definitely going to be one of the shorter live streams because we gotta do Umar again. And something happening with Marianne Lawrence. Oh, child. Oh, Lord have mercy. Why? Allison, if you want to share with me whatever she was watching us, she's always watching. She's always watching. Yeah, she still quits. Talking about like LLC said we're investigators. No, I'm an independent journalist. You're whatever you think you are in the literature world. I had to remind her of that. You can't make this up. All right, you all, let's get to this. And then that'll be this live stream for today. Only because I definitely have the live stream later on with Polite and Nature Boy, and then of course I want to do the Umar. I got a video from something. I mean, we got a lot to catch up on. So, shout out to Gary, and we're gonna check this out. What is Candace Owens and TPUSA's connection with Scientology, aside from John Mappin? Because we all know he's a thing. Let's get to it.
I want to get your thoughts on what's happening with TPUSA, what you think is happening with Candace, and we talked a little bit about John Mappin and where all that's at. But before we get there, like, inform people that they do. Like, this is an intelligence operation where they're getting their little tentacles into many, many different organizations.
I don't know how John Mappin happened to luck into the relationships. John Mappin does not strike me as a particularly charismatic and believable guy. I don't know. I don't know how anyone's falling for what John Mappin is selling, but my understanding is that he is one of the founding members of Turning Point UK. I saw a video from many years back where he seemed to be hosting a dinner for the first time with what I believe was Candace and Charlie, and hosted them at an event that ended up turning into a big event. I've heard that John actually introduced Candace to her husband, but I don't know Candace. I don't know her husband. I've never personally met John. But I can say this. I've known a lot of Scientologists in my life. John Mappin is weird for a Scientologist. The guy's a weirdo. I don't know how anyone's falling into John Mappin's web.
Well, I think they're falling into his money. I mean, look, at the end of the day, that's what's going to influence people and things. And, you put enough money behind whatever you're saying and whatever you're doing, people are they're going to fly to the UK and let you host a dinner for them. I mean, it's just as simple as that. And then they're going to feel indebted to you. And then they're going to feel like you're their friend and your ally. And, that's just how that works. I mean, it, like you said, it doesn't get much more complicated than that.
I think you're exactly right. And I think part of the evidence for this is, I mean, just within the last month, you had Nick Fuentes openly trying to smear Candace by trying to associate her with Scientology. And then in the last week, you had Candace trying to smear Erica Kirk by being like, oh, you think I'm connected to Scientologists? No. Erica's connected to Scientologists. They're all playing hot potato with the Scientology connection. You see what I'm saying? So
no,
it almost proves why people like John try to make influential friends, but it's not working. Like, I'm sure John Mappin would have thought that Candace was, in Scientology, there's a word called safe pointed. If I safe point you, it means you've got my back. It doesn't mean I converted you to Scientology, but it means, I'm a good person. We're good people. We're a good organization. We would never do anything bad. And when someone talks crap about me, you're going to have my back. I'm sure John would have thought that Candace was safe pointed to Scientology. When Candace started being like, oh, you think I've got Scientology connections? No. Erica's the one with Scientology connections. That for John, that would have been like, oh God, we failed. But it almost shows why John would be out there trying, because Scientology has such a horrible reputation pretty much anywhere it exists, that it is an important goal for the organization. Make friends, make allies, and they usually make those friends and allies through financial contributions. Their goal is just to get as much influence anywhere that they can. If they thought it was more valuable to gain influence in the Democrat Party, they would be doing that. They're relatively apolitical. They have succeeded in getting a lot of influence in the Republican Party and in conservative politics. And in the Trump administration. Scientology has a lot of influence with Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, former Florida Attorney General.
She spoke to them.
They have succeeded in getting just as much influence with the current Florida Attorney General, James Uthmeyer. They have gained a certain level of influence in Turning Point USA and Turning Point UK. And a lot of this is through wealthy Scientologists such as Trish Duggan and John Mappin. And I can't believe I'm going to go blank on the other guy, Craig Jensen. Grant Cardone. I'd say those four guys right there. Now, you got Greta Van Susteren and her husband, John P. Cole. And yeah. And you might go, so what's the purpose? The purpose is really to create a group of powerful allies who will come to Scientology's defense if and when it's needed. So that Scientology, their number one concern is just making sure they never lose their tax exempt status.
And they should have that taken. And then all military forces should assemble upon Clearwater and then tell them, "Nuck if you buck," through a microphone. That's it. That's all I'm saying. Take their tax exempt status and then have the tanks ready, rolled up in front of David Miscavige's house, his base, and all that, and say, "Nuck if you buck." We've got armies. We've got a military. Nuck if you buck. It's that simple. I wouldn't even think twice about that if I could.
That's pretty much David Miscavige's number one goal. Do not lose tax exempt status.
Take it.
Which
Take
party
tax exempt status.
is more likely to throw down in defense of Scientology and religious freedom? The Republican Party.
Mhm.
So that is why Scientology has kind of since 2004 started to become very, or I should say it's started to become very, very political in a way they never did before that. Wait, when did Trump run for the first time? Did I get it wrong? Was it 2000? It wasn't 2000.
2016 or 2012.
2016.
No, it was 2016. Yeah.
It wasn't until Trump. It wasn't until Trump ran for the first time that Scientologists, that I observed from my experience, started to actually seem to think politics mattered. L. Ron Hubbard said politics doesn't matter. You can't fix anything with politics. You cannot expect people to vote for things that will, fix society, because what's wrong with society is the reactive mind. And politicians cannot fix the reactive mind. Only Scientology can fix the reactive mind. All of a sudden, when Trump ran for the first time,
soda cans,
they acted like Trump was Scientology's guy for some reason. I don't know why. He's not. I don't believe any of the leadership in the Republican Party actually gives a damn about Scientology. But I do believe they give.
They shouldn't, and they should advocate for a cult to lose its tax exempt status because they don't need it. It's not a religion. It's a cult. It takes a shifting of the mind and how you view this. If they're infiltrating conservatism, wouldn't you want to weed out that cult that's trafficking children? Let's think about all of this all the way through. They traffic kids. And yet, they're infiltrating conservatism and republicanism. Wouldn't you want to stomp them out? We have an army. I mean, would it be too much for them to tell David Miscavige, "Listen, let me tell you something. We're going to take your tax exempt status because you're a cult. You're not a church. You can cry and holler until Xenu comes back and get your ass. And if you buck, we're going to buck back. And we bucking back with every branch of military we have. If we got to pull every Navy seaman up to your front step in Clearwater, we'll do it. And then they'll just probably leave and go to another country. Like Jim Jones did. God. We have armies. What are we doing?
A damn about Trish Duggan's money.
Yes.
And Scientology seems to believe that as well. Trish got appointed to the board of the Kennedy Center. Greta Van Sustren's husband got appointed deputy special envoy to Ukraine. What was the other one? Grant Cardone was one of the speakers at Trump's Madison Square Garden event. And
you're talking about a reactive mind. Like that's so cool, man.
It kills me knowing how Scientology is really a chameleon organization and just excels at pretending to be whoever and whatever they think you want them to be in order to be acceptable. It just kills me to see so many people falling for this. I'll just give you a couple quick examples here. There was a guy, Scientologist, named David Gentili. He was convicted or pled guilty to running a $1.6 billion Ponzi-like scheme, sentenced to 7 years in prison. He served about 6 days before President Trump personally pardoned this guy. And I asked people connected to the whole situation, how did this pardon come about? And I was told it was because of Trish Duggan's connections to the administration. By the way, David Gentili, not the only one involved in that scheme, just the only Scientologist. He was the only one pardoned. The other people involved were not pardoned. This was a favor that was done for Trish Duggan as a Scientologist, right?
Wow.
Yeah, there was a second example I was going to give, but I just forgot what it was. Here's what it is. Florida Attorney General James Uthmeier. Okay. The Church of Scientology, the city of Clearwater, where I live, is currently in a battle against the Church of Scientology over a street that the city owns that Scientology wants. Trish Duggan has donated almost $2 million to political action committees run by James Uthmeier. Okay. Scientology asked one of the city council members to write a letter to James Uthmeier asking for his opinion on the legal principles involved in this dispute. In an unprecedented move, James Uthmeier responded to this request and sided with Scientology over the city in a municipal dispute about a street and a right-of-way. Scientology knew how James Uthmeier would respond to this question. The Florida Attorney General was sitting there waiting to receive this request so that he could send the answer in support of Scientology. That's just an example of Scientology gaining influence through Trish Duggan and her massive political contributions. Over the last decade, Scientology has seen a huge increase in its influence in American politics, particularly within the Republican.
I'm sorry. So it went straight to my next video. Scientology taking over TPUSA and the Republican Party. Oh my God. Y'all. This is something else. And this one is like growing up Scientology. So we're going to check this out in the next Scientology Sunday stream. And I believe this, what's this young man's name? Is Aaron? Aaron, is it? I want to make sure. His name is Aaron, correct? I'm trying to see here. You all said it. Yes. Okay, cool. His name is Aaron, and he has his own channel. That was Aaron with Gary from Paramount Tactical in the previous video. Aaron went and did his own live stream. He did his own live stream on Growing Up Scientology YouTube channel. And I will drop the link in the chat if you guys want to check that out. But we're going to check this full live stream out in the next Growing Up Scientology. Because he goes deeper into how Scientology is infiltrating this Republican Party, the conservative movement, and slowly trying to slip into TPUSA. John Mappin I guess he thought he was big and bad, and he really was. I guess he's not. He really is corny. John Mappin, you so corny. You can't make this out. And he's over in the UK. Am I mistaken? He's not even in the US. John Mappin is in the UK, right? Or did he move? Oh, dear Lord. So we're going to check this out next week. And we got the interview we're going to check out on Kyla's channel with Sarge Delmar. I want to get at least one interview in each week for Scientology Sunday of survivors. You know, this young man was taken at a young age and trafficked. And his children have been taken from their homes, and they're worried about a tax exempt status. That's how disgusting it is. When you're doing things like that, you shouldn't have a tax exempt status. You shouldn't. But yet, Candace's punk ass is not going to ever talk about this at all. Can't make this up. So, thank y'all so much for tuning in. That's all we have. I told you guys this will be a short live because there are a couple other lives that I need to get in today. And I appreciate all of you all. He's in a castle. He has a castle in the UK. Yeah, that's a sign of just corny. John Mappin living in a castle. Somebody go over there and tell him, Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your long hair. Oh, John Mappin, you little dweeb. You can't make this up. I know, right? They call it a religion to get rich. Oh, man. Let's see here. Cheryl says Growing Up Scientology YouTube, and he has a Facebook page too, and the SPTV Foundation. And he and Jenna have dated till recently. Oh. And he's definitely well versed and well knowledgeable. So let me make sure I drop this video link in the chat if I haven't already. So make sure you all check this out. All right. And then, tell John Mappin on X.com to kick rocks with his clown ass. And we will be back at it next week, you all. So I gotta get ready for the next live, y'all. We gotta we're gonna get on this with what's happening with this Umar and Marianne stuff. And ciao. I appreciate all of you all so much for tuning in. Hit the like button on the way out. Leave me your comments and thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And I'm sure you guys are going to email me and say, check this out, check this out, check this out. We will get them in. We're doing this every Sunday. Scientology Sunday series is picking up. And I appreciate all of you all for that, for tuning in and hitting that like button. Hit the like button, hit the like button so we can get this information out. I would love more channels to start picking this up. I'm glad Gary is picking this up. And I'm glad Aaron is doing his thing over here on his channel. He has a sizable audience, so hopefully he will continue to, share his experience and share information of what's going on. We got to keep this code at bay and stomp him out, hopefully. So until the next one, you all take care. Have a good day. If you can, join me in the next live stream with Umar and Marian. And I bid you all farewell. Lady Luck Club out. Deuces.